when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Hello and welcome to Hockey Night in Australia. I am your host, Gordon Goodenough, joined by Andrew McDougall, Sean O'Connor, and Courtney Kynaston as well. This is our first live AIHL show as part of the Hockey Hype Australia network. You can find us on the web at www.hockeyhypeaustralia.com.au and on the socials at Hockey Hype AUS. So what is Hockey Night in Australia? Well, this is a show by the fans, for the fans. We'll break down the weekend's action, examine our game of the week, and take a look at the week ahead. And the goal is to have the show every week at around this time. We all have lives outside of this show, though, so sometimes that may vary a little bit. But welcome, Andrew, Sean, Courtney. Great to have you on for the first show.
I'm excited to be here. I was nervous this morning, but happy now.
Yes, thanks for having me on board, boys and girls.
And Doogie,
yeah, this is exciting, GG. This is really good. Another podcast on the network, an AI podcast. This is sick.
Yeah, our first AI one, and you've done a bunch of work with the intro, with the graphics. Thank you to Grant Reinberger too for letting us use the good old cup graphic that he has, and Sean O'Connor for facilitating that for us. But yeah, thanks, Doogie, for all the work. So what's would you like to tell us a little bit about the genesis of this show, Andrew?
Well, we thought that we didn't have anything to do with AI really. So a lot of people would know us from the A-Dub season where we did the weekly wraparound, recapping the week of the action and looking ahead and having guests and all that sort of stuff on. And we had this idea of doing something similar with the AI, and obviously with everyone at Hockey Hype Australia. It's not just you and I, Gordon, at Hockey Hype Australia. We have Sean, Courtney, and obviously we've got Tristan as well, Tristan Metcalf, who lives in a different location to where we all are. So that sometimes Tristan might be on the show, but sometimes he might not, giving the time difference. So we just wanted to recap the AI. We thought it was something that was needed. People were sort of crying out for it a little bit to have a show like this. So we can chuck up some highlights and hopefully have some guests as well in the future, GG. I know I've already reached out to Kerry Goulet, who's keen to jump on board and come on as a guest, so we can have that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, excellent. And if in case you're not aware, this is a live show. You can comment on Facebook and YouTube. If you do comment on Instagram, the comments don't come through to StreamYard, so we won't see your comment. But if you are on Facebook or YouTube, feel free to drop us a line. We've got our first comment there from Phil Taylor, who is pretty, I think he left the first comment on almost every single weekly wraparound. Got beat by Danielle King one week. But it's great to have you with us, Phil. So what's on the show for today? Well, we are going to have a look at the weekend's action. So we've got producer Andrew McDougall, who was going to bring up the beautiful graphic that Sean O'Connor created. Mustangs beat the Adrenaline in Adelaide 7-2. The Thunder took out the 9-3 win over the Rhinos. The Bears 4-1 on Saturday against the Lightning. And Melbourne Ice remained undefeated 4-2 over the Canberra Brave. The North Stars gutted a back and forth contest out 4-3. And then on the Sunday, Mustangs beat the Brave in a good old cup final rematch, and the Bears beat the Lightning 8-1. Any comments, guys, on the results there?
Yeah, I'll jump in. The North Stars, I think, really needed that to get back in the win column, and they did that by, after speaking with coaches as well, they really just stripped back, and wasn't the most entertaining game I've ever seen. And even the coaches admit they didn't want it to be entertaining. It was about just getting back to basics and playing a good structured game in order to get the win. And the Ice Dogs put up a fight. It was, the second and third period were a lot more interesting, but it was quite a game.
Yeah, Berno was on a scoring mission in that one, wasn't he?
Oh, he really was. And he came out, well, the second period, got the first goal, lifted the momentum of the team, and then period 3 got netted the last 2 and to get himself a hat trick, and the fourth goal from Francis Drolet. So, a steady offensive pair that are quite frequent and of course fan favourites. Everyone loves that pair.
And what about you, Sean? What took your eye from the weekend's game?
Well, I mean, the Brave travelled down to Melbourne to take on the 2 Melbourne teams and came away with 0 points, which was a bit disappointing for Brave fans. But Melbourne Ice here, 9 games win streak now. That's their equal top ever. So one more win, and they're gonna have the best start they've ever had to an AI season.
And Doogie?
I think what stands out for me from the weekend is I'm just impressed every single weekend with the Sydney Bears. At the start of the season, I sort of felt a little bit like when they were winning, they were playing the Ice Dogs, and we didn't know what the Ice Dogs were going to be. And now we actually know what the Ice Dogs are. The Ice Dogs are a very competitive outfit who have improved massively. So when I see the Bears getting back-to-back wins in consecutive weekends, I think the Bears are really showing a lot. So that's sort of my takeaway from the weekend. I think the Bears are looking really good.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Doogie. I was a bit worried about the Bears import recruitment and whether that would actually work out this year. But they appear to just be rolling, which is what they did last season too. They just kept rolling.
Yeah, just narrowly missed out on the minor premiership. We've got some people in the comments. Corey Katina tuning in from Minnesota. Welcome, Corey. Natasha Denton, I think from WA. Anthony Russell, banners on the wall. This guy, if you like UK hockey, get onto Banners on the Wall. He runs a great website as well. Natasha Denton, happy about her Perth Thunder. Tory Driver, hi Tory. Another one, Perth Thunder will stop the Ice in their tracks. Geez, those are going to be good games whenever the Ice play the Thunder. And just a couple. Anthony Russell again. Canberra looked better the last couple of weeks, even if the bench was short at the weekend. More effort and intent. They're not getting the reward for it, but it will come. Andrew John Egan, is it true that you have a segment like Pluckaduck planned for this show? Pluckaduck, he was getting in a mascot suit. That'll be a guest appearance from Andrew John Egan, and WA represents. So thank you for all the comments. I agree. I think Canberra have looked better. I mean, they've got their players back now, but the results just they haven't started arriving yet. But we will have a look at the standings next to see how they sit. So this is a Hellier conference. Melbourne Ice at the top, undefeated with 26 points. The Bears with 24, Thunder on 18, Mustangs on 11, and they picked up 6 points over the weekend. So that was a vital 6 points for them to stay in the race. And the Ice Dogs on 11. Any weirdness in the table for anyone?
I think these standings just show how competitive this conference is going to be all season. The Ice obviously started unbelievably well and haven't lost a game this season. But anyone from 1 to 5 can easily make the finals or make the playoffs, however you want to call it. So I think this is going to be a really competitive conference.
Yeah, the Hellier conference is looking hella good this season. Like with the Ice Dogs improving and the Ice especially just becoming quite dominant to start, it's quite exciting to see what will happen towards the end.
All right, and now let's look at the Rurak conference. So it's the North Stars leading the way on 19 from 9 games played. The Lightning on 11. The Rhinos on 6 in that final playoff spot. The Adrenaline with a couple of games in hand on 5. And then the Brave, who have played more games than any other team in the comp, at the bottom on 4, but just 1 win outside of that third and final playoff spot.
It's still close. It's close like the other one.
It is close, just a different kind of close.
That's right.
What are your thoughts, Doogie?
Well, when you spoke about the Brave, I don't think the Brave are going to sit at number 5 for much longer. So you're talking about the Brave, and we had that comment from Anthony Russell about how much they've improved. If you look at it across the weekend, the Brave outshot both teams, but didn't take anything away from that weekend trip to Melbourne. So they had something like 20 odd shots more on goal than the Melbourne Ice throughout that game. So you have to think that eventually the Brave will get some puck luck and the puck will start going into the back of the net. So I can't see the Braves sitting down at number 5 for much longer.
Yeah. Courtney?
I think one standout for me is just how much more competitive the Rhinos are looking this year. So to be 9 games in and already have 1 win and 1 overtime win, they're already doing better than they were last season. And even watching the games, you can see that the Anand Dobry in net for them is just a brick wall when he can be, and putting himself into positions that helps his forward and all the forward lines push a bit harder. So, yeah, to me, I just think they've found what they've needed to just be more competitive, and I think that's important for the league.
Yeah, and I also think the Adrenaline have also a lot more competitive this season compared to last. They've just got to find some scorers.
Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit, haven't we? Yeah, sorry, Diggy.
I was just going to say, I think with the Rhinos, I agree with Courtney. I think with the Rhinos as well, someone like Xander Woodlaw getting off the mark this season with a couple of goals is massive for the Rhinos as well. So I think Xander had about 10 to 15 goals last season. So if he can start getting going for the Rhinos as well, they've actually got a lot of talent there, I think, at the Rhinos. So if they can start rolling and players like Xander can start finding the back of the net, then who knows what the Rhinos can do this season.
And Jordan Bischoff disagrees with that. Rhinos doing surprisingly well this season. Also commenting about very proud about Newcastle being at the top. Corey Katina, Brave only 1 win back, still 4 games each against Adelaide and CCR. It will sort itself out there one way or another. Very true. But yeah, definitely the Rhinos have been more competitive. I think after that first weekend when they got done by the Melbourne Ice, what was it, like 9-0 and 11-1? I think it was brought back memories of last season with that brutal kind of start with the Brisbane games. But now that you see what kind of a team the Melbourne Ice are, it's like, well, gee, like, some other teams might get dinged up 9-0 this season by the Melbourne Ice as well.
I think it's worth keeping in mind too, at those games, they didn't have their import goal. Like Rhinos didn't have their goalie. They were down a few players. Xander wasn't back from overseas. Bert Malloy was overseas with his family. And so there are a few key players that have made a difference. So when they've come into the team a couple of games in, you've seen that change and that shift in the energy of the team.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think as well, if you look at that game against Perth Thunder, if you look at that in isolation, you look at that second period, they had a really strong second period against the Perth Inferno, picked up 2 goals. The Thunder, sorry, picked up 2 goals. The Thunder didn't score any. They had plenty of power play opportunities as well. So if you can convert a few more of the power play opportunities, then all of a sudden you go from 3 goals for the game to all of a sudden 5 or 6, and then you don't know what can happen. So it's those little things that the Rhinos, if it goes their way, then things can turn pretty quickly.
Yeah, actually, Doogie, it's kind of similar to Canberra. They had a lot of power play chances on the weekend against the Ice, and they only scored once out of, I think it was 9. So you need to be converting a bit more on the power play to be racking up the goals on the scoreboard.
We've just got some comments coming through. Natasha Denton, they did let in 5 in the first, but they beat us in the second. Talking about the Rhinos against the Thunder. Corey Katina, they had the goalie, but we're missing some others. I think Oberoi got injured in the first game against the Ice, because I think Paul Glace came in.
Yeah, sorry, you're right there. And I remember now, end of the second period, he didn't come back out, and Jace Polglaze filled in.
Yeah. So we've got North Stars. I've already played 3 of the 4 games together. I'm okay with them getting form now. From Tory Driver. Rhinos were and blank from Andrew John Egan. He's going to get his Plucker Duck costume. The Rhinos actually remind me a lot of the Australian national team at Worlds this year. Plucky, spirited, need to do more scoring, hard to dislike. Tristan Metcalf. Love your work, guys. Now it's bedtime for those of us in less friendly time zones. Poor Tristan. We'd love to have him on, but the time zone change is brutal. 13 penalties in the second. Thunder vs Rhinos, disrupted the game from Paul Green. But thanks for your comments. Anything further before we move on?
I think for me, I think we should talk about the Thunder a little bit. I know you were big on them, GG, prior to the season, and they look really, really good, the Thunder. And when they came down to Melbourne, and I had a good look at them up close, and then talking to Ben Bro after the game, they're all in. They want the cup. There's nothing else that they want. They want to go to the final and win the cup. That's what they're here for this season, and they look really, really strong.
Yeah, and they've got players back, right? So they've had Jeremiah Addison as an import has scored 24 points in 8 games, so he's scoring 3 points a game. They've got Zane Jones, who has been scoring. I think he scored 16 points so far, 8 goals, 8 assists. They've got Ben Bro, who's got 16 points, 3 goals, 13 assists. Leo Bertain in goal has been unbelievable. That game against the Adrenaline. So you look at the team and they've got, Jamie Woodman on the back line, JFK. You're like, this team looks pretty deep. And we haven't even touched on the local forwards like, Kairos and all these others who are lighting it up as well.
Yeah, Kieran Webster's another one.
And the big thing for the Thunder, when I was talking to Ben, is that Teno Salmi, I believe, is close to getting citizenship in Australia as well. So that's something else. If he becomes a local, that's just opens up another spot.
Yeah. It's like the Mustangs with Klomp this season. It's a really handy thing to have when you can have an import producing as get import production from a local, really.
Yeah, and Crowder at the Ice Dogs is another one. Came here as an import and then almost immediately was a local.
Yeah, I think he got his citizenship before he stepped on the ice in his first game. So that was quite a good get for the Ice Dogs.
And he's been quite good production wise too since he started.
He has, and very noticeable. He's been paired with Pataki quite a lot, and clearing out the net front. There's not too many people that are going to be able to move the 6'6" frame of Bray Crowder. But Natasha Denton's showing some love for us covering the Thunder. Jace Polglace is a good goalie, in my opinion. Definitely. You interviewed him, didn't you, Doogie, on your podcast? Was it Jace Polglace?
No, I didn't. I think you did in a previous live.
Net Sticks and Chill. Yeah, Net Sticks and Chill. I think we interviewed him there. Paul Green, Natasha just stopped our momentum that period. I think talking about the penalties, the Zane train, Jordan Bischoff, absolutely going to be a great test for both teams this weekend. We will get to that. Go to Bears. We will talk about the Bears a little bit. Yes, Natasha Denton, happy about the citizenship. All the dogs, Melissa Lee. And yes, Leo Bertain doing very well. So thank you for all your comments. Hopefully I've gotten to all your comments. And now it's time to talk game of the week. Doogie, is that correct, or did you want to talk about something else first?
Well, we have a couple of highlights here if you want to roll the video footage as well. So we've got a couple of goals and one bit of play that I wanted to highlight as well. And we've also got a big coach spray that we can run as well. So which goal do we want to go first? Do you want to leave the first goal scorer till last?
I'm happy with what you decide, mate.
All right, we'll roll the Bears one first.
Price.
All right.
Up to Moncrief on the wall again. Moncrief firing across for Herman. Herman, the goal scorer, chips that one over, and a chance in front. Goal! Sydney Bears. Herman with a beautiful saucer pass to Chris Eden in front, who buries that one through the 5-hole.
This has been a bit of a different looking Bears team here in the second period. They look like they shook the rust off after that first, which was a bit quieter, and they have been the dominant team. And you see here a beautiful pass that comes up, a little chip across into front into Eden, and he buries it on Meager. So some nice play there. The stretch pass out of the zone, and then the...
I know when that game was going on, I asked you if you had any goals that you thought that we could roll on a reel or something, and that was one of the ones you mentioned. Just some nice hands and nice finish in the 5-hole.
Yeah, I am a big fan of Chris Eden and what he brings to the Bears lineup. He hasn't played every game. He's a fly-in player, but the games that he has been in the lineup, that he's added something a little bit different. And on the line with Herman and Kadlick, he looks pretty good, pretty dynamic, and he scored a beautiful power play goal. The Bears worked. It was a textbook one, I think, on the Sunday. From the half wall to the bumper up to the high slot for Eden to blast home, and he's certainly a useful player. But yeah, it was a beautiful little quick hands by Eden to finish past Meager.
The other goal. Oh, sorry, Sean.
You know what else I liked about that is the home commentators for the Lightning being so enthusiastic about the away team scoring. Like, you don't get that everywhere. Like, it's really good to hear.
The Brisbane ones are good. The Brisbane guys are good. They're consistently good.
We've had some really good calls on the coverage this season in the AI.
Yeah, loving it.
The other goal I wanted to just highlight, and I'll talk a little bit more about the player as well. Just as a sort of an overall season and across the weekend type of snapshot. I'll roll it now from the Mustangs. But if you just look at this play and on the coverage, on the commentary during the game, it wasn't brought to attention, and it was where it all started. If you just look at the defensive play at the very beginning before Vadim scores.
Shot from Rachitsky, and that's blocked by Brunt before it got on the net there of Tetro. Dupuis now to Cangelosi, 3-on-2. Oh, Cangelosi almost had Dupuis in alone there on Woodlands in a counter-attack now here for the Mustangs. 3-on-2 the other way. Astafiev gloves it down, shoots, and it went off the side of the net. Comes back into the slot. Vyasov can't get meat on that as he one-touches this one across. Back now here to Rachitsky. Back now here to Vyasov, moving in. Vyasov shoots, and it scores just like that. It's 2-1.
It was a nice passing play from the Mustangs, and they kept it in the zone, and then Vadim scored. But at the very beginning of that sequence, Evan Krustalev made a massive play on what was like a 2-on-1, 3-on-1 in the defensive zone just to break it up and get the Mustangs going the other way. And it wasn't sort of brought to the coverage, so I wanted to bring it onto this show tonight because I think Evan's having a massive season for the Mustangs. He's playing really, really well on the blue line for the Mustangs, who were a little bit thin. They've got Max Astafiev back now as well, which is going to really help their blue line. But from a Mustangs perspective, I think Evan Krustalev with that play, he's been doing that all season. So I just wanted to highlight Evan's 2024 so far.
Yeah, it was a gorgeous goal.
It was so good that you've got a Melbourne Ice fan calling it champagne hockey. That beautiful Andrew John Egan. But yeah, beautiful goal. Well picked up, Doogie.
We can leave, unless anyone's got other comments on the goal, we can go to the next one, but we'll leave the spray to last. So the next highlight from the weekend, I think everyone agrees, it was probably right up there in terms of people's favourite highlights from the weekend. It made my five for riding this weekend as well, and it was just a beautiful goal in off the bar from the point. First career AI goal as well for Daniel Kadelka.
Yes. But how weird is that we've both got a soft spot on the one team, and that's quite unusual for a cricketer and a hockey player.
a look right there. So on Scott Timmins' goal, we said you don't always have to go to top corner, but if you're Daniel Kudelka, you can go top corner. This is a great little reverse shot.
Got the shot off quickly, and just the accuracy just did Woodland's.
He's so excited. I love just how excited he is.
I think if you're going to bring up your first AI goal, I think that's the way to do it.
It's certainly memorable.
It was beautiful. Just the way he walks along that blue line, steps in, makes the space for himself, and then goes the far post past the goalie. Just unbelievable. Loved it.
We've got some love from Phil Taylor for Sammy Manter and Sam Trapolino, the number one commentary team. I tell you what, I had notifications. I wasn't even commentating on the weekends, and I had notifications that people were bringing up Doogie and I, and good-natured sledging is what I would call it. But it made its way into your 5 for writing as well, Doogie.
I think that goal, the ring off the post, also makes it that even sweeter. Just getting that sound.
Yeah.
And watching the Mustangs goalie, he just goes, "What happened?" The poor guy.
We do have comments on the Instagram, GG, if you want me to read a few out.
Oh, go for it, mate. Yeah.
So we have Ice Hockey Classic. So I think we know who Ice Hockey Classic is. They had 4 5-on-3 power plays for about 7 minutes and loved the show, everyone. And Mustangs fan Brett Parker, who was actually on the commentary for a period there on Saturday. Adrenaline looked good at the blue line on the initial PKs on Saturday, just made it unfair on themselves by continually going into the box. Constant power play pressure from the Stangs ended up being too much.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, good old Gooch. We'll be talking about Ice Hockey Classic in a minute. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. We're looking forward to having Gooch on the show. Hopefully, we get him on soon.
It's probably a good segue, GG, to the last video. And Gooch might not want to watch it. He might want to close the screen. But it was described to me as one of the all-time great sprays from the weekend, and we'll roll it now. It's a little bit long, but it's something we probably haven't seen in hockey here a lot, not with footage anyway.
The thing about that is Webster should know there's half a second left in the period. There's no reason to take that penalty.
But what the end result is, at the end of 2, it's still the Melbourne Ice lead.
Oh my goodness.
And 2-1 is the lead against the Canberra Brave.
Wow, this is like a baseball manager situation. Oh, he's touched the ref.
I think ultimately the arguments with the ref, you don't win them.
And look, all this is going to do is put the Ice further in Jeff Blink's bad books.
What the Melbourne Ice now need to do, for me, is just they can be upset all they want, but they've got another period to play against a good side. They've just got to refocus.
They can't lose their heads, because if they lose their heads and they lose the...
So I think Gooch wasn't happy. Just to clarify, though, just from the commentary coverage, Gooch did not touch the ref. I did speak to Gooch on Sunday morning on the phone. Did not touch the ref, but he is passionate, wears his heart on his sleeve, GG. We've had a lot to do with Gooch over the time since he's been here, either involved in what we're doing here or what he's doing over at his Gooch Live, etc. Very passionate. Something we haven't seen sort of a lot with coaches in this league.
And I think from where he was coming from, it was like player safety. It was, trying to protect his players. So, you can understand that, and you can maybe not the way that he went about it, but you can understand the passion behind it. But certainly made for interesting commentary from the commentators.
I do have a comment from Kerry on Instagram as well about your suit. It says very Don Cherry-ish.
I appreciate that, Gooch. I appreciate that. Yeah, no. We've got this suggestion, and I think this would be a cracking bit of content from Andrew John Eden. Do you know those bad lip reading videos? Someone to do a bad lip reading of Kerry's spray. And yes, Natasha Denton, ooh, you're not happy. Yeah, so if you've got the skills, feel free, send us a video of or audio file of what you think he was saying. But yeah, in all seriousness, it was a talking point for sure.
Yeah, well, it came after that second period where I guess that's where a lot of the inconsistent calls happened, and there were a lot of unhappy people around the rink and watching online.
Yeah, I think we had there was another. I think Ivan Rapchuk was ejected from the game on Sunday against the Bears. There was some discussion there. Didn't get as much coverage as the Melbourne Ice. So it does happen. I think, and the motives are definitely protecting the players and trying to protect your team and speak out when the players can't. So you can kind of get that, and look, we don't know what was said, but
I like the fact that they actually they had a conversation essentially, rather than it escalating into anything else. Like it was basically, yep, I'm going to lay down what I believe. You can say what you believe, and then we'll go our separate ways.
Yeah, just being heard is important. Sorry, Courtney.
Yeah, that's credit to Jeff, the official as well. He's someone I was lucky enough to meet up here in Newcastle, and he's one of the calmest, cool-headed people I've met. And then watching him as an official, and he's just hit his 100th AIHL game. So I think for anyone to take like a heated spray like that, I think he was probably one of the better officials to stand and keep his cool, to be able to listen to whatever it was that Kerry had to say and be able to deal with it. So
yeah, and it obviously worked too, because the next period there weren't that many penalties. There wasn't much in the way of animosity occurring. So it kind of calmed the entire situation down after that.
Yeah.
So next up, we are going to talk about the game of the week, which this week we voted for the Mustangs v Brave game. So we've obviously talked about the scoreline 4-3. It was very similar to last year's, or had some similarities to last year's Goodall Cup final, in that it was a tie game in the third period. Mustangs got a go-ahead goal and held on. Couldn't get the empty netter, but held on for the win. Let's go through what we why we picked it.
I think it was a game that both clubs needed. And what was interesting from the weekend was the only goal that wasn't 5-on-5 was a Scott Timmins short-handed goal. The rest of them were 5-on-5, no power play goals at all. But I thought it was a type of game that both clubs needed. The Brave obviously is slow, and I think the Mustangs are slowly working their way into the season. For me, the Mustangs still haven't convinced me of where they are this season, but they're slowly starting to work into it. So I felt like this sort of game was, even though the Brave are going to walk away with nothing, I felt like it was a game they needed and they'll take a lot out of.
When they were here in Newcastle, I had the pleasure of talking to the coach, and this game was very reflective to me of what he said at that game, in that they were still finding their feet on the back of a championship. So coming back and some player changes and little things that happen in the off season that can impact the beginning of a season. And I personally thought the time of this game that I was able to watch, it was exciting. It was interesting to watch and a little bit edge of the seat, just waiting to see if the Brave could fight back, if this was the game they'd come back on. And no, I think it was a fun one.
Yeah, I think I totally agree. I think it was a game that kind of swayed at times. I thought the Brave could come back. They did look like they were going to do that, but in the end just fell just a bit shy. But they did show a lot of fighting spirit, and hopefully that can actually, as we said before, translate into a few wins coming up if things just fall their way. They do have to improve that power play, though. 0 from 7.
0 from 7, and they had a 5-on-3 for 1:14 with 2:56 left in the third period, and they didn't get a shot on goal until the power play was almost over, and like as in one of the power plays. So then it became a 5-on-4. They got like a flurry of shots away, but for the 5-on-3, it was pretty dreadful. They passed the puck out of the zone themselves, and then the Mustangs cleared twice in quick succession, and they couldn't get a rhythm. But yeah, the upshot of that is that once they do get that power play working, and with the talent on their roster, you've got to expect that to happen. They're gonna come back and climb up the standings pretty quickly in the Rurak. I don't think you have that luxury to fall far behind in the Helia this season.
Yeah, I must admit it was also really good to see Jake Ratcliffe make his Brave debut on the weekend. I was actually really impressed with the shifts that he was putting out there, and I think it's a really good addition to the team going forward.
What did you think of Jean Dupuis?
I thought I actually quite liked him, but I thought he was a different kind of import than what the Brave often bring over. So I'd love to see more of him.
Just as a side note, we did talk about it before we come on air tonight, but Scott Timmins is now the points leader of the competition and has got 10 goals in the past 4 games, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think
can't believe he's number 1 already.
I think what's even cooler, and this is something, shout out to Phil Taylor that he mentioned. If you look at the point spread for that game against the Brave, there's 9 different players who got a point, and there's 3 players on the Mustangs who scored their first goals of the season. So I think for the Mustangs, if I don't think you can get away with being a one-line team in the AIHL. I don't think that's going to get you to finals. If they can get some depth scoring, they have the potential to go on a roll for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's what Perth and Ice are going to do, right? They've just got points coming in all lines, so that's why they're doing really well.
Yeah, I do agree, GG. Losing Lawrence is huge for them, but they did get Raczynski back, and I was a big fan of Vlad Raczynski last season for the Mustangs. I thought, I did say at stages, I felt like Raczynski was there, almost like their barometer when he was out on the ice to get them going. So I think having Raczynski's back is huge as well for the Stangs.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for a better replacement, right? Like, especially at short notice. Like, I agree. Last season, for the 6 games that he played for the Mustangs, he looked phenomenal. And yeah, to be able to get him back, and he looks like he's just clicking again. So it's great.
All right, shall we go look ahead to? We had some player milestones. Will we bring them up, Doogie?
I actually don't have. I don't have the. I don't have the graphics, but Sean can talk about the milestones.
Yeah. So this week we had 8 player milestones, which is actually the most we've had of any week this year. It was headlined by Sean Jones of the Mustangs. 300 games. That's a pretty phenomenal number. Doogie, I'm sure you've probably seen a lot of Sean over the years.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you have many thoughts about him?
I think he's a really solid hockey player, and I think he's one of those players that if you put him on a line with like a Scott Timmins, etc., that we have seen over the time, can be one of those players that can perform really well on like a wing. Good sort of two-way player is what I see from Sean Jones anyway. And it's someone who's not afraid to get in along the boards and put some body on, etc.
Yeah, that's good. The other player which had a big milestone this week was Zach Boyle for the Adelaide Adrenaline. He played his 200th AIHL game. I must admit, I still remember when this guy first came onto the scene in the AI. So it's weird to see him now, having played so many games. But yeah, talk about a stalwart for Adelaide. And then apart from that, we had an article this week from GG on Ryan Annesley getting his 100th game. You're on mute, Gigi.
100 for the captain, Riser. So yeah, congrats to him. And he had a 3-point game the next day in his 101st, 2 goals and an assist. He's got points in 8 of the 10 games that he's played. He's riding a 7-game point streak from the blue line, second on the Bears in points, the top current active defenseman in points in the league, second behind only Aiden Wagner, who of course has left, but may still be at the top of the points for defenseman by the end of the season because he had a ridiculous start. But yeah, it's congrats to Ryan Annesley.
Yeah, I mean he's having a phenomenal season. You know, he's 38 years old, yet he still just rocks it for the Bears.
Yeah, and it's not like he's fluking points. Like the way when you watch the games, he stands out immediately as someone that's driving play and making smart plays. And I had some quotes from Tyler Huberty in there that were like, you would expect he's got all the skills of a stay-at-home defenseman, and you would be happy if that was all he was. But then he's got this offensive ability as well. Yeah, smart player.
Yeah.
When they were in Melbourne, I did text you, GG, when the Bears were in Melbourne, and I did say Annesley and Claire, that pair, just phenomenal. One of the best defensive pairings in the competition.
Yeah, and now it's Matsukane on that pair with Annesley, and geez, they look strong in Brisbane. So
yeah, how did you rate his debut?
Weekend. Matsukane?
Yeah.
So from the moment his first training, from what I've heard, he blew everyone away from training. He was just that good. And then on the weekend, he's put on the top pairing by head coach Tyler Huberty. He's put on the top power play unit. So it shows kind of the trust that he already has within the team. And he scored a beautiful power play goal assisted by Annesley as well on the weekend. So on the Sunday, I think, collected his first goal and collected an assist on the Saturday. I think he's going to be really good. And he makes smart plays, his little moves with the stick. And again, he's head up, surveying the ice, plays well in all 3 zones.
Yeah, there's Japanese players from the Asia League. They've come over and making a real good name for themselves here. Like him and Ishida, and even the new Brave import from the weekend spent last season in the Asia League as well. So making impacts. Okay, so the next milestone that I had on here, guys, was Scott Timmins, 150 points. He scored a lot of points in the last few weeks, which has really accelerated him up the tally. But if he keeps going this way, he's going to catch a lot of people. Another points milestone for the weekend was Grant Toolman bringing up 250. I mean, he's also been a very consistent scorer for the Ice Dogs, and has been a real leader for them for quite a number of years.
Yeah. Quality player. That line, McDonald, Kuleshov, and Toolman has been looking pretty good this season.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal. It really has.
And and the last one I've got on here is 250 points for Ben Brule as well. So, these are another import that's sort of made his home here in Australia, and then he's just again consistent for Perth. And it's hard, like, right, being both the coach as well as a player, like, and to keep the production up like that. That's amazing.
Well, you know, maybe that helps, because if someone doesn't pass you the puck on the power play, you can just bench them.
It's true.
Yeah, but yeah, congrats to all those. Thank you, Sean, as well for getting those graphics. We'll be putting them up on socials through during the week. We'll be rushing them out. Should we have a look at this weekend's games?
Yeah, we can do that. 100%.
All right. So on the Saturday, we've got Brave at the Adrenaline. The Melbourne Ice head over to Perth for a double header. That'll be a cracker. The Brave Adrenaline is also a double header. The Lightning visit the North Stars on Saturday. The Rhinos visit the Mustangs. That's a double header as well. And then the Sydney Derby, Bears v Ice Dogs. That should be an intriguing matchup because the Ice Dogs have improved a heck of a lot since the last game. And on the Sunday, the only one that's not a reverse fixture is the Lightning visiting the Bears, playing them for the third time in 2 weekends. What's everyone going to be watching?
I think pretty obvious. I'm eager for the North Stars game this weekend. I always like what the Brisbane Lightning bring when they come down. It's always a physical game and a lot of fun. And for the North Stars fans tuning in, I'm very excited to say that we will get to see Riley Klugerman back on the ice. So for anyone that saw him play last year, he blew us all away. He's just fast and I think going to be an incredible asset to us this coming weekend. And particularly, I think Lightning have one or two players out after last weekend. So I think it's going to be a good matchup.
I think if you're getting a 20 goal scorer in any competition, you're doing quite well. So to have Riley come back into the North Stars is massive.
And also being he was last year's Rookie of the Year, so coming back on the legacy of that as well. So I think a few of the North Stars fans will be pretty excited to hear that.
Yeah, he was so impressive last season. So to have him back is great for the North Stars, but also great for the league in general.
So Tory Driver just saying, welcome back, Klugs, and woohoo, in response to the news. Breaking news like Elliot Friedman here, Courtney. So thank you for breaking that on the show. We've got some comments. Anthony Russell, this game, the Perth Ice game, is going to be popular. Anthony Russell, that Perth Ice 9:30 a.m. face-off for me, timed beautifully. We've got Natasha Denton, who's going to be going to both games. We'll be cheering loudly for the Thunder. Corey Coutina's going to be waking up early for those Thunder v Ice games. Of course, he's doing a lot of analytics for the team. Kira Lee Myers also cannot wait to see Klugerman. Yeah, Jordan Bischoff. Oh, heck yeah, sucks. I'm missing the North Stars game on Saturday, but a lot of happy people about that Klugerman news as well. Yeah, any other games catch your eye there?
Yeah, I mean, the Ice Perth is like blockbuster stuff, especially now with the news today of Austin Albrecht signing for the Ice. Like, if a strong team didn't need to be any stronger, well, they certainly know how to do it.
So there is head coach Kerry Goulet at the airport with Austin Albrecht. Doogie was creeping in behind a pillar, taking photos as he landed to get the breaking news for us. So thanks, Doogie. Stalking Kerry's Facebook page.
I'm Kerry's official paparazzi in Australia.
Yeah, and Corey Coutinho, can't wait to see Austin Albrecht make his Ice debut. It will be he blew it up last season, didn't he? For the Brave, he was unreal.
Yeah, and it was surprising. I actually found it kind of surprising too. Like, he came from a good level, but nothing in his career, sort of in his CV, really had him scoring that many points in this league. But he did. He absolutely smashed it. So to go to an Ice on fire, And this weekend, especially when they're coming up against one of their toughest opponents they've faced so far, it should be a great matchup. But also, Brave traveling to Adelaide. Adelaide are so desperate to get some more wins for all their hard work that they've put in recently. Toth is amazing in goals. So Canberra's got to be able to score a few more goals. Hopefully Casey Kabara and a few of the others click into gear.
Jeremy Friedrich has also been great in goal when he's when he's been called upon, and they've got Matush Trinker as well. They have enviable goaltending depth in Adelaide. They just, as soon as they start scoring, they're gonna start climbing up the table, but they just haven't been able to put the puck in the net.
Yeah, I mean, they've probably got the best trio of goaltenders in the league as a unit. But they also get quite excited too over there in Adelaide, and that can be quite good for their confidence. So I'm hoping that they can do well, but maybe not this weekend against my team, please. We need a win.
Yeah, they play that rink really well in Adelaide, and in the chip and chase game, and it should be interesting what happens and how it all goes down. I wouldn't be surprised with a split this weekend there in Adelaide, but we'll see. I know the Brave fans will be angry at me for that. But I really do rate Adelaide highly. That's no disrespect to Canberra. It's just I do rate Adelaide quite highly.
Yeah, and I must admit, coming into this season, I probably rated them quite low, and now my opinion's changed quite a bit. They've been very impressive to start the season, so they just haven't quite got the points there yet.
We've got Andrew John Egan agreeing with us. Adelaide can get it done. Any final thoughts, peeps?
The other game I'm going to be watching will be Brisbane and the Bears. So that changed from last week. Obviously, they were in Queensland, and then this weekend they'll be in Sydney. And it was quite a, let's say, spicy game. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing if it will be that again. So, yeah, with the North Stars not playing Sunday, I think that'll be my game of the Sunday afternoon. I'll be watching.
And there was 2 players suspended from last week's encounter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Popovics for Lightning is out. Not sure about the Bears. Gordon, you might know. But, yeah, I think when you play that competitive and then play again 1 week later, there's not much time for a bit of a cool down. So I think it'll be fun.
Was it Sasha Babchuk, the other player suspended?
Yeah, just for the Sunday game last weekend. So he should be back. But, yeah, Popovics is out for both games, which, that'll be a big loss for the Lightning, obviously. But yeah, I think everyone from Brisbane is available. Pending news that pops up on the AIHL website. We've got Anthony Russell is putting in a plug for supporting whatever GB is at Worlds. I'm not familiar.
Great Britain.
I knew it was Great Britain. Justin Lutz, I'll be super keen to see how Newcastle performs against Brisbane. If I remember, the Lightning swept the set last season. Yeah, they also had that. Did they reschedule that game, Courtney? Qantas didn't send their luggage? Okay.
Yeah, they came back and played it. I think it was a month later.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the first occasions we actually saw a rescheduled game actually occur, and not just 1 point each for both teams. We won't play it.
Yeah. Final thoughts, Dukes?
Just a little side note. I'm supporting Slovakia at the Worlds for Martin Pospisil. Just a little side note. But just talking about the adrenaline, they've been involved in 5 one-goal games out of the 7 this season that they've played. So that goes to show you how tight the Adelaide games are, and it can just fall either side for them. But I think like everyone else has said, the Ice and the Thunder games this weekend are massive. I think Austin Albrecht, coming off a pro season and playoff series in North America, should be primed to just step onto the ice and be ready to go for the Ice. So that'll be a really good contest. I'll be down at the Ice House on Saturday for the Mustangs and the Rhinos, so it'll be good to get a good close-up look at the Rhinos. Hopefully have a chat to a few people as well and put some articles together. But it should be another cracking weekend of AI.
Yeah, it should be a fun game, actually, Doogie, that matchup between the Mustangs and the Rhinos. Because the Rhinos love to attack, and so do the Mustangs. So it sounds like it should be goals.
A barn burner.
Yeah.
It'll be 1-0 in a shootout. That means we've jinxed it. I'll be doing the commentary for the Sydney Derby, colour commentary on Saturday. On Sunday, I'm hoping to get down to the Lightning Bears game in person. So have a chat with some people from both teams, both classy organisations. I think in Sydney they're getting like the food truck company in, so they've got. There's usually not a great deal of choice at the rink, but you can get like cheeseburgers and buffalo wings and sausage rolls and all sorts of stuff, which you can cheer off the calories during the game.
So taking a leaf out of the Braves book with bringing in the Fat Boy Burgers into the rink.
Yeah,
who also normally does a food van, so.
We just copy Canberra with everything. The 3 stars, everything. That was.
Oh, Canberra wins a championship in 18. We'll win in 19.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for all your comments. We promised we'd keep it to under an hour. We are at 57 minutes even, pretty much. So we've done well. We've got some comments that we'll run through. Jordan Bischoff. Interest in the Rhinos, Justin Lutz, another Rhinos Mustangs goaltending is optional. Tory Driver, North Stars won 3 of the 4 games versus Brisbane last season. Michael Smith, I'll catch the end of the Ice versus Thunder game while exporting replays from the Battle of Sydney. Michael Smith, always busy at Thought Fox. Horns up, Andrew McDougall from Andrew John Egan. And yeah, cheers, Tory, for the stat.
GG, do you have anything about the Battle of Sydney? Like, do you have any thoughts about that for this weekend?
If you look at the first games that the Bears played against the Ice Dogs, and if you count up how many goals came from rebounds and second chance opportunities and being outworked down low, I haven't got the stat, but it would be about 90% of the goals. Since the last time that the Ice Dogs played Sydney in that second Battle of Sydney, or the second Sydney Derby, the Ice Dogs have done a much better job of boxing out the net. They're working hard down low in the defensive zone, not getting outnumbered as much. You could see that against the Mustangs, for example. They did a fantastic job. Ray Crowder, excellent addition. Pataki, Cameron, they've got their players back from Worlds. I'm expecting a much tighter contest. And talking to head coach of the Bears, Tyler Huberty, earlier in the week, he's also expecting a different team to the one that they game planned for early in the season. So I think if you're an Ice Dogs fan, don't hang your head and be expecting a loss. I think this is going to be a tightly fought game. I think this is going to be one of the closest Sydney derbies that we've had in a while. The Ice Dogs haven't won a Sydney derby since August 24, 2018, I believe it was, when they had Kolodziejczyk scored 5 goals as an import. We might be doing up a stat as to that changing. It's going to be close. I'm still backing the Bears, but I think the Ice Dogs are going to surprise some people. I really do.
I think it's exciting to be an Ice Dogs fan at the moment and actually seeing the team just improve so much. It should be fun.
Yeah. They know the team song by now. Surely, I need to ask Jason Quisler if the players know the team song by heart. Melissa Lee, proud Dogs fan. Yeah, good on you for your support. Ice Dogs have some great fans at the rink. So yeah, that's anything else. Did I miss anything?
I think
No.
we've covered everything.
All right. 3 years in a row. Yep, good on you, Melissa, for your support of the Ice Dogs. So thank you, peeps, for joining. Thank you for all the comments as well from if you're watching and tuning in. This will be available for download as a podcast, so make sure that you subscribe to the podcast as well wherever you get your podcasts. Keep an eye out around this same time each week. We'll try to do this show as well. If you've got any constructive feedback, feel free to let us know if there's something that you want. We're trying to do this for the fans, so we're really guided by you and your feedback. So we appreciate your comments and your support as well. Make sure that if you aren't subscribed to our YouTube, please subscribe to our YouTube. You'll make Andrew very happy because he keeps track of the stats like every day, and he's sending us through stats. That's his baby. But yeah, thank you very much for your viewership and listenership. Check us out on the socials at Hockey Hype AUS, our website www.hockeyhypeaustralia.com.au, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks,
See ya.
everyone.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, go.